Hi! Today we're going to be making one of my favorite recipes. It's just a basic classic chocolate chip cookie. I take these to pretty much every party that I go to. They're a crowd pleaser and they can be made honestly in 15 minutes plus baking time. Most of the things you'll find you probably already have in your pantry. We're going to go ahead and get started with our 2 sticks or 1 cup of butter that I've already pre-softened in our mixing bowl. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Go ahead and lift that up, nice and smooth, that's what you want. I know when Heinz and his sister were young, they used to eat butter by the stick, so this might be something that either of them would enjoy. Now we're going to move on to our sugar. So you're going to want 1/2 cup of cane sugar. It's going to go in our bowl. 1/2 cup of brown sugar as well. So growing up, my mom tried out a lot of different recipes to get this one perfect. She experimented with different amounts of sugar, brown sugar, and this is kind of our quote-unquote secret family recipe that we now have that everybody loves. And now I'm going to turn the mixer back on for about a minute just to get those sugars and butters really well incorporated. So go ahead and lock my mixer, turn it on to a speed of about 2 to 4. So our sugars are all mixed in with our butter. It should be this nice pale brown color that you'll see, and everything should look really well incorporated, nice and smooth. From there, we're going to go ahead and add about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to just eyeball it. And now I have my separate bowl. I've got 2 eggs. I'm going to go ahead and crack in a separate bowl because we don't want any shells. That way, if you do get a shell, it allows you to be able to pick it out. Then our second egg. Sometimes I still get shells, even though I've been baking since I was about 8. I'm going to go ahead and pour in my eggs. We're going to go ahead and put our mixer back down. We're going to put this one on a speed of about stir to 2 if you're using an electric mixer. And this is where we're going to need to scrape the sides quite a bit. So I'm going to pick it up every 10 seconds or so, and I'm going to scrape the sides. You won't need to scrape the sides as much if you're using a hand mixer, just for the KitchenAid. It doesn't quite do it for us yet. In the future, maybe, when we have a more advanced AI. It looks like it's about done. It's going to be a little bit runny from the egg. From here, we're going to add our dry ingredients, and then we're almost done, believe it or not. We have our all-purpose unbleached flour. Make sure you're not using bread flour. Bread flour actually has other things added into it for the rise of the bread. So you always want to stick with a basic all-purpose unbleached flour. So I got 2 cups plus a baby cup. So 2¼ cups of all-purpose flour. Some people sift their flour. I'm too lazy, so I like to just put it right in. I've never had an issue with it. So until I do, I'm going to continue not sifting it. Just skips a step, especially when you're busy and doing these on the fly for a weekend party. Next is going to be 1 teaspoon of baking soda. You want to make sure your baking soda is pretty fresh, so you don't want to grab this from your fridge pack, for example, that's absorbed all of your fridge odors. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. If you don't have pink Himalayan salt, you can do any sort of salt, just not a kosher salt, because the granules in the kosher salt are going to be a little bit too large. I'm going to go ahead and put my mixer back down, lock it, and put it on a nice stir. This will come into a nice, beautiful, firm dough. That's when it's coming together. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Lift it up, and you can see the dough has come together. It's this beautiful, pale brown color. It's nice and firm. And from there, you can add whatever mixing you like. We got a quarantine score yesterday at the store, shall I say Heinz did. And we have our favorite Guittard milk chocolate chips. These babies are you'll be lucky if we have them in the fridge and I don't eat all of them before I make a batch of cookies because they're so good. They're the best chocolate chips. Also, if you don't like milk chocolate chips, you can do a semi-sweet, you can do a dark chocolate, and you can also do toffee. So I'm going to do the whole bag of these. If you're doing chips and nuts, for example, you would probably want to do half the bag and then incorporate the nuts because you don't want your cookies to be too dry. There's a few left over that I can eat later, so that's perfect. And I'm just going to give it a couple go-arounds in the mixer. This is my husband Heinz's favorite part. It's when he gets to lick the beater. Now, it does have raw eggs, but I've been eating raw eggs since about 1990, and I've never had salmonella. So, at your own risk, of course, but a little bit of raw cookie dough with raw egg never hurt me. And I'm still here. So go ahead and take that out. Give it to your favorite person in the house. Maybe that person is yourself. Go ahead and just taste it. Taste a little more. Make sure it's good. Not sure yet. Okay, I think it's good. So we're done with our mixer. Thank you, mixer. Let's go ahead and put it on a baking sheet and pop it in the oven. These are gonna bake for about 15 minutes at 325 degrees, depending on your oven, and they're gonna come out beautifully. All right, so we've cleaned up a little bit, and now we have our baking sheet. I'm using an insulated baking sheet. Basically what that is there's a layer of air in the middle of the sheet, so it makes for a beautiful chocolate chip cookie, or really any kind of cookie. I highly recommend investing in one of these. They're about $9.99 to $12 at Sur La Table, Williams-Sonoma. Well, at Williams-Sonoma they're probably much more expensive, but I would recommend Target or Sur La Table. So once you put it on the sheet, you're just gonna wanna smoosh it a little bit. Smoosh! With your fingers, so it goes a little bit flatter. You wanna make sure they're far enough apart because they are gonna spread quite a bit. This guy, oh, fail. Doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see. We're gonna go ahead and put these babies in the oven, 325 degrees for about 15 minutes. All right, I can smell them. Here we go. These babies are looking pretty good. So you want that light golden brown around the edge. Now we're gonna go ahead and cool our cookies on the sheet. I got my taste tester here. He likes to do quality control. Bye. All right, so once your cookies have cooled for a couple minutes, you're gonna go ahead and just take them off the sheet. They should peel off pretty easily. For my vegan or my gluten-free friends, I'm gluten-free myself. This is a great recipe to make with a gluten-free flour. I like cup for cup. That's the best gluten-free flour that I've found. And you're gonna wanna do the recipe with 2 cups of gluten-free instead of 2 1/4. For my vegan friends, this is a really easy substitution with a vegan butter or a vegan earth balance, as well as a soy egg substitute. So it can be vegan, gluten-free, or both. And of course, if you're vegan, you can pick your cacao nibs accordingly at the store as well. So, beautiful homemade chocolate chip cookies. They smell like heaven. Thanks for joining me today. Up next with Heinz for his shaken cocktail.
First thing we're gonna do is, my hands up here, okay?
Yeah, perfect. Just walk us through you making this on a typical Tuesday night. Yeah. Maybe you should have had a few of these before you started. Okay.
Today we're going to be making a version of the original 3-ingredient daiquiri. It's classic, it's simple, and it's very different from what you're going to get at TGI Fridays at that slushy bar. What you're going to need is a cocktail shaker, limes, knife, something to stir with, jigger or shot glass, sugar for your simple syrup, a cup, and a hand juicer, what you can do in my hand. I have weak wrists, so I'm going to use a hand juicer. And lastly, the most important thing is you're gonna need rum. My favorite rum to use for this recipe is Hawaiian Dark Rum from Kauai. Ashley and I found it on vacation there. It's delicious, also available locally at Whole Foods and some other places. So let's get started. First, we're gonna need some lime juice. About an ounce of liquid from each lime. So we're gonna be making 2 here. So I've got 2 limes. Let's see what we end up with. Boom. 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 And boom. Let's see how we do here. 2 ounces exactly. Ooh, perfect. Take a look at that. Right to the top. So, just take it, throw it straight into that cocktail shaker. All right, now let's work on the sugar. I'm using cane sugar, which is different than the regular old white sugar you're gonna get. It has a little bit more of a molassesy taste, which I like, but the granules are gonna be a little bit... The granules are gonna be a little bit big, so it's not gonna dissolve as nicely in our cold drink. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little simple syrup out of this. 2 tablespoons of sugar. And you know what? Ashley likes hers a little bit sweet, so I'm gonna throw in a little extra. We're just gonna mix it up with a sploosh of hot water. Sploosh. And mix it up. Now, traditional simple syrup is 1 part sugar, 1 part water. You can put as much in here as you need. I usually just use a little bit. Makes it a little bit thicker, but also doesn't water down the cocktail as much. So just stir that up until it's just about dissolved and throw it in the cocktail. And for the last ingredient, most importantly, rum. We're gonna be doing 4 ounces dark rum. Looking strong, I'm gonna put a little solution there. And so that's it. We've got our 3 ingredients. Throw a little bit of ice in there. and shake it up. Shaking your cocktail not only mixes the ingredients, it also adds a little air to the mix, giving it a light, frothy texture. As the ice breaks up into tiny shards, it cools the mixture and results in a crisp, refreshing drink that isn't too boozy or citrusy. All right, now that it's nice and mixed and cool, we're ready to pour, and luckily I've got my bar back here to help me out. We're gonna serve it up ice cold. Ooh, yeah. And if you wanna get real fancy, add a little garnish. Just slice up a quick little round of lime, and here you go. That's it. Easy 3-ingredient daiquiri made with dark rum. This is gonna pair great with Ashley's cookies. And I can't wait to show her.
To a good life.
Salud, porque pieza sobra.
That's good. You want a cookie?